All right, let's jump right in. Lazio just beat Ajax 3-1 in the Europa League, and we're going to break down exactly how they pulled it off. This isn't just about the final score, though. It's about understanding how Lazio was able to outmaneuver a team known for being strong tactically. We're going deep.
Yeah, we're going beyond just the goals and assists today. We're going to talk about strategy, the decisions that won this match, a real tactical chess match, you could say. And to help us, we have this amazing analysis, detailed tactical analysis of Lazio's 3-1 victory over Ajax on December 12, 2024.
So think about this. A Europa League match, both Lazio and Ajax are attacking teams. But Ajax has had some trouble playing against Lazio in the past. What's going on there?
Well, right from the start, when you saw the team's formations, you could see there were going to be two very different styles. Lazio came out in a 4-3-3, which a lot of times means they're going to press high and try to counterattack. Ajax, though, they were in their usual 4-2-3-1, which usually means they're going to try to keep the ball and control the game with passing.
So a classic battle of styles then. Lazio trying to cause chaos, while Ajax wants to keep things calm and in control. So how did Lazio's plan actually work on the field? What were their main tactics?
It was all about pressure, pressing high up the field in Ajax's half, winning the ball back quickly, and then using that space to attack fast. They also focused on controlling the midfield and making sure their fullbacks were overlapping to add more attackers.
Sounds intense. So they totally messed with Ajax's usual game. I mean, did Ajax even put up a fight?
Well, Ajax is known for being skilled, technically, but even they struggled against Lazio's pressing. Lazio's midfielders were a huge part of that. They basically shut down Ajax's passing options and forced them to make mistakes.
For those of us who aren't tactical geniuses, can you break down how those midfielders were so effective? They shut down a team famous for its passing? That's not easy to do.
Yeah, it's not. But Lazio knew what they were doing. One of their keys was Nicola Rovella. He played as the deep-lying playmaker.
Okay, I've heard that term, but I'm honestly not sure what a deep-lying playmaker actually does.
Oh, sure. In simple terms, a deep-lying playmaker sits in front of the defenders, and they basically run the team's attacks from deeper on the field. They're the ones getting the ball from the defenders and then using their vision and passing to find their teammates further up the pitch.
Ah, so like the puppet master of the offense, pulling the strings from a distance.
Exactly. And Ravella was great in that role for Lazio. He was always looking around the field, searching for any weaknesses in Ajax's defense, and then he would make these perfect passes that would get past their press.
So it sounds like he took control of the game's tempo, like Ajax usually does. They must have been pretty annoyed.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Ravella wasn't alone. The other two midfielders were working really hard, closing down space and trying to get the ball back. As a team, they disrupted Ajax. They didn't let Ajax play how they wanted to play.
So Lazio turned Ajax's biggest strength, their passing, into a weakness.
I'm starting to get how they won this game. Exactly. It's a perfect example of how a good plan, a good tactical plan, can stop even the most talented players. It wasn't just about stopping Ajax, though. Lazio also had players who could really punish them on the counterattack.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask about. We have to talk about the Lazio players who actually scored the goals. Lumen Chiwona, he was making some really smart runs. And Fisayo Delabashiru, he scored an amazing goal. And Pedro got one too, right?
They were all important, for sure. Chauna's runs were perfect.
Yeah.
He was using the space that Ajax's defenders left behind, which, happens when you play a possession-based style like Ajax does. If you're always pushing forward, trying to score, you're going to leave some space open at the back. And Lazio took advantage of that really well.
So it wasn't just those players being amazing, it was Lazio's tactics
Right.
made them so dangerous.
Exactly. And then there's Delabashiru. His goal showed how powerful and accurate he is, but it also showed how good Lazio is at switching from defense to attack. They'd win the ball back high up the field, and then boom, it's in the back of the net, just like that.
Speaking of those big moments, let's go back to some of the key points in the match. Chiwuna's early goal, then Traore tied it up for Ajax for a little bit, and then Delabashiru put Lazio back in the lead with that incredible goal.
Yeah, those moments really show you how the tactics played out. Like Chiwuna's goal early on, that was Lazio's pressing working perfectly. They forced an Ajax defender to make a mistake, got the ball back, and Chiwuna finished it off, no problem. Textbook stuff.
What about Traore's goal? Did that show any weaknesses in how Lazio was playing?
It did, a little bit. Traore scored when Lazio's defenders weren't fully organized yet. It shows that when you press that high up the field, there's some risk involved. If the other team can get through that initial press, there might be some gaps they can exploit.
So it's a tactic with both high risk and high reward.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But then, look at how Lazio reacted. Delabashiru scores to put them back in the lead right after Traore's goal. Again, it was because their pressing was so good, they forced another turnover. Ajax just couldn't handle how intense and organized Lazio was.
And then Pedro gets the third goal, basically ending the game for Lazio. That was a classic counterattack goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Ajax was pushing up, trying so hard to tie the game, and Lazio just caught them out with a super fast break. It was like a lesson in how to punish a team that's pushing too many players forward.
Okay, so we've talked about how they started, the formations, and the key moments. Now let's talk about the changes they made in the second half. Both managers made some interesting substitutions. I'm curious to hear what you think about them.
It's always interesting to see how the managers change their plans during the game. Lazio, with their lead, brought on Mattia Zaccagni and Adam Maruzic.
Were they trying to be more defensive? Or were they still thinking about counterattacking?
It was kind of both, actually. Zaccagni and Maruzic are both really good defensively, so they help protect Lazio's goal. But they can also attack Zaccagni especially. He's known for being fast and direct, so he was a threat on the counter even late in the game.
And what about Ajax? They brought on Wout Weghorst and Chuba Akpom. I guess they were hoping to win more headers and just be more physical up front.
That was probably part of the plan. Weghorst and Akpom are both tall and strong. They can be a real problem in the air. Ajax was probably hoping to mess up Lazio's defense and create some chances from loose balls.
But it didn't really work, did it?
Yeah.
Lazio's defense stayed strong. Those substitutions didn't seem to do what Ajax wanted them to do.
I think it shows how solid and disciplined Lazio's defense was. They kept their shape, closed down space, didn't give Ajax much room to work with.
So even with those changes, Ajax couldn't figure out how to beat them.
That's right. They tried to switch things up, but Lazio was just too organized and too well trained to be beaten at that point.
Okay, so thinking about the bigger picture here, what does this result actually mean? It's one thing for Lazio to win, but to do it like this, against a team like Ajax, what does that tell us about Lazio and about what's happening in soccer right now?
This was a huge win for Lazio, a real statement. They didn't just beat Ajax, they totally outplayed them tactically. It proves that this aggressive pressing style, when you do it right, can be incredibly powerful, even against teams that are known for being technically gifted, like Ajax.
You mentioned this pressing style is getting more popular. Are we seeing like a change in how soccer is played at the top level?
Definitely, yeah. Teams like Liverpool and Manchester City, they've shown everyone how effective this high-intensity pressing can be. And now you see more and more teams trying to play the same way.
And just to be clear, it's not just about running around like crazy trying to get the ball back, right?
Yeah.
There's a real art to it, I think. Lazio's pressing looks so organized, so disciplined.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about effort. It's about timing, about positioning, about everyone working together. Lazio's players were pressing in groups, cutting off those passing lanes, forcing Ajax to make bad decisions.
So what's this mean for teams that like to have the ball, like Ajax? Are they going to have to change everything about how they play?
Not necessarily, no. There are ways to play against this high pressing style. For example, you can try to pass the ball quicker, more directly, to avoid the press. You can also work on your movement off the ball to create space and give your teammates options for passing.
So it's like a chess game almost. You got to think ahead, try to guess what your opponent's going to do.
That's it exactly. And that's why the tactics in soccer are so interesting. It's like this constant battle between the managers and the players. Who's going to outsmart who?
So the big takeaway here is soccer is more than just goals and skills, you know. There's this whole other level of strategy and tactics that we don't always see.
And if you understand those tactics, it makes the game so much more fun to watch. You start to see the game in a whole new way. You appreciate those little things that can make all the difference.
And the next time you're watching a game, don't just watch the ball. Pay attention to how the players are moving without the ball, the patterns they make, the tactical battles that are happening everywhere.
You'll be amazed how much depth there is to the game, even if you think you already know everything about soccer.
Well, that's it for today. We broke down how Lazio beat Ajax, and we got a little glimpse into how the tactics in soccer are changing. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll see you next time for another look into the world around us.